Beautiful shot of the fog rolling into San Francisco Bay, which pretty much happens every day this time of year. And we're just a little south of the San Francisco Bay down in Santa Clara, California for the Tier Pro Swim Series, where it is knockout day here at the International Swim Center. 50s of all the strokes, and Natalie, I promise when I say knockout, I'm not going to punch you.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I might hit you back.
She probably would. So again, knockouts at the 50s here at the Pro Swim Series are really fun. 50s of all the strokes, you get in top 8, and then they take the top 4 for the next heat, and then the top 2 battle it out for the big prize. And they really do 3 of these races within a span of 10 minutes. It's tough, but I think a lot of people really enjoy it.
It's really grueling, but it's great for the athletes. It's something different. They get to practice 3 different 50s, hopefully, and they get to battle out for some good prize money and put on a great show for the fans.
Yeah, I think the fans will really like to see that. All right, so before we talk about what happened in prelims today, let's look back at some of the winners from last night's event. It was pretty much one of the best nights here at the Pro Swim Series. As you can see there, some of the winners: Katie Ledecky, a nice win in the 800 freestyle. Chase Kalish, a nice double in the 200 fly, 200 IM. 5 times in a row that he has won the 200 fly and 200 IM at the Pro Swim Series at all meets. I mean, that's just unprecedented, and I think he's really got to be happy about that. And then those 100 freestyles, Caleb Dressel winning 48.9. It was very interesting to see Nathan Adrian also go 48.9 in the consoles. I wish Nathan had been able to swim a better prelim to see what those two guys can do. It would have been fun.
And let's not forget about Simone. She was so good in that 100 freestyle. She dominated right from the beginning, 53.8 to win against the co-Olympic medalist, Penny. So I was really excited to watch that race, and that was my personal favorite from last night. And
then we'll see what she can do in those 50s tonight.
Yes.
All right, so in addition to the 50s of the strokes and prelims today, we also had the women's and men's 400 freestyle prelims. And of course, it's no surprise, Katie Ledecky was the big star in the women's 400 freestyle prelim. Just a pretty conservative 404. I mean, most people would love to be able to go 404 at prelims, but for her, it was pretty conservative.
It looked so beautiful. I had to look it up, and back in 2004 Olympics, 404 would have won gold. So that's a solid time in the morning. And as we see here, this is Katie going into her last turn. I assure you, there are 6 other swimmers in this race. Katie is just a comfortable 25, 30 meters ahead. I don't even know. And it's really nice to see that Katie Ledecky always comes to play. Like, it's the prelims. She could easily take that. She could take that swim easy, but she doesn't. She takes it very seriously. If anything, she might have slowed up into the finish, but 404 is solid for a prelim swim.
And I would love to be able to see another sub 4 minutes for Katie Ledecky. You remember when 4 minutes was the barrier?
It was unheard of. It was unheard of.
And it still is. She's still, besides Federica Pellegrini, the only woman to break 4 minutes. So it's still one of those barriers that still hasn't been reached, but she does it just with such ease that it makes it look like now it should be a piece of cake, and hopefully you could see more do it.
Hopefully see more. And anytime you get to watch Katie Ledecky race, it's a blessing. As a former swimmer, as a swim fan, I love it. So that's why the spectators should come out tonight and really watch her race in that rate.
Yeah. And another good race tonight is going to be the men's 400 freestyle. We're going to have the 2008 Olympic gold medalist Park Tae-won of Korea. As you see him there in his prelim swim in the middle of the pool. Just looking, he was pretty conservative too. He wasn't really taking it too hard the first 200, then he kind of built it up here. And it's going to be a nice race because Zane Grothe has been winning the 400 freestyle a lot in the Tier Pro Swim Series. He's had some competition, but he's never had an Olympic gold medalist to race against. So I think he's going to be looking, he was probably looking to see what Park Tae-won was doing, and now he knows he's got a race on his hand.
No, I'm really excited to see Zane Grothe step up and have a really good challenge. I think that's good going into this summer to have as much international experience as possible and get to race some different people.
Yeah, absolutely, because I believe Park Tae-won will be going to Pan Pac, so this could be a little bit of a preview of what we're going to see in Tokyo. It's going to be exciting. All right, so as I said, we had the prelims of the 50s, and one of the highlights of those 50s was the men's 50 butterfly, where we had the American record holder Caleb Dressel in that event. It was his only event he swam. He didn't swim the 50 freestyles today, so I think he's putting all of his eggs in this 50-50 butterfly. And right in the middle of the pool, I mean, really one of the best starters in the world.
I know, it's a bit of a surprise to see him just do the 50 butterfly, but it's a race that you don't get to practice too often, and now that we're adding that to the World Championship format, and you probably need to practice it more and more.
Absolutely.
And just something to note, in the 50 knockouts, here here in this pool at Santa Clara, the finish is quite shallow, so it's really tough to judge that finish properly. So I would assume that as swimmers progress through those knockouts, they'll get better and better and get, you know, more experience with that finish.
Yeah, and here's Caleb coming in looking pretty comfortable with his win, and it's not too bad of a time. I believe he went 23.5, and I would really love to see a sub 23 second swim from Caleb, and I think he could do it as he progresses through that. If he gets in the top 2, I'm sure he's going to really pour it out on the line.
I would not be surprised. Caleb is absolutely amazing. Maybe the wind will pick up a little bit and give a little bit of that aid.
Yeah, so we're down here at the turn-in where they're going to start for the 50s, and the wind kind of goes into the finish, so they'll have a little bit of a tailwind. So if the wind picks up, anything's possible.
Yes,
anything's possible. All right, so that does it for our recap of the prelims today. We're going to take a little break, and we'll be right back on Deck Pass Live with Andrew Wilson.
I don't know because they were telling me in there.
All right, so welcome back here to the International Swim Center for Deck Pass Live, and as you saw, U.S. Swimming Nationals is coming up very soon, about 7 weeks, July 25th to the 29th in Irvine, California, and every athlete who's going to be fired up, and we want to know, as a viewer, what's firing you up about Nationals? And if you're watching this on Facebook, we want you to comment in the Facebook section. What are you fired up about for Nationals? We want to know who you're excited to see, what races you're excited to see, what makes you excited about Nationals. And who knows, if your response is something that really stands out, we may mention it on tonight's show. So put those responses in the Facebook comments.
And make sure to use the hashtag DeckPassLive or hashtag Fired Up.
That was a good hashtag. All right. So speaking about somebody who's fired up for Nationals, we have with us Andrew Wilson. Andrew, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
So anybody who doesn't really know who Andrew is, it's a really kind of a, I don't want to say a Cinderella story, but it's just kind of a really dream story.
Yeah,
I mean, you were pretty much kind of not really the star of your swim team when you came onto the team at Emory, and then
That's an understatement.
Yeah, and you worked your way up. You worked really hard, and all of a sudden you started winning at Division III Nationals for Emory, and started putting up times that would have won at Division I, and people really started taking notice. And then you made the final of the 100 breast at the 2016 Olympic Trials, and now here you are last night winning the 100 breast. You have the top time in the country, I believe, now in the 200 breaststroke. I mean, what does it feel like for you to be on this trajectory right now?
Honestly, I mean, it's something that, like, I don't think I stop and look back as much as I should. I mean, it's pretty crazy, and honestly, like, if you had told me that this is where I was going to be, like, 6 or 7 years ago, I would have called you a liar. So it's really awesome. I'm just trying to savor every minute of it.
It's so fun for us to watch a swimmer like yourself just progress and kind of later than most people do. And last night you won the 100 breaststroke against a really stacked final. And tonight you have the 50 knockouts. Can you talk about a little bit about your 100 breast, and then I want to know what you learned in Austin in the 50 knockouts that you're going to take into tonight's.
Yeah, so last night, I mean, I really just wanted to have kind of a good swim that I could build on. You know, I think this spring, I went to a national team camp out in Chula Vista for a little while, and then came back, and we've been working pretty hard this spring just to get back in shape after the guys were done for NCAAs. And so at Mesa, I was definitely just in a harder training point than I am now, and that kind of showed in my races there. And so I really just wanted to have kind of a good swim that I could build on as I get into more fine-tuning and taper work leading into nationals. So honestly, like I wasn't really thinking about trying to win. I was just trying to think about having a great race that I was happy with all the details, which I think is a lot of swimmers will tell you.
So we're coming into the finish here. It's pretty tight. Kevin Quarters is up there in lane number 2. Like you said, it's a stacked field. You probably were aware that it could be anybody's race.
Yeah, I mean, if you looked at prelims, I think there was like 5 or 6 of us that were from like 101.4 to 101.6.
Yeah.
So I mean, you knew it was going to be a battle. I mean, it always is with these guys. You know, I think that breaststroke went from a couple of years ago being maybe one of the events that we weren't so deep in the U.S. and now it's, I mean, it's crazy that to think that a 207 is probably what it's going to take to make the 2 breasts for Worlds next summer, which is just, I mean, it's like I said, it's crazy to think about, but it's awesome for U.S. swimming. So
it's awesome for us. It's awesome to see so many opportunities for the 200 breasts and 100 breasts, and not only those relays. Those relays are going to be so good. The breaststroke leg is going to be so good. So talk about a little bit about the 50 coming up tonight.
Yeah. So the 50 breasts, I still have no idea how to swim. I mean, like it seems like whenever I do well in the 50, like the next day I'll take my 100 out in the same time. So I just, you know, I think like one of the keys for me is to try not to slip too much, because sometimes I just get so excited that I'm like, all I need to do is tempo, and then that's really counterproductive for breaststroke. So yeah, I mean, like the knockout stage is definitely a little different. I mean, I hadn't done any, I mean, there's a couple meets that do it with the 50 freeze, but I think really these pro swims were the first to add it to the other strokes. And so Austin was a lot of fun. That's the only other time that I've done it, but it's, I mean, it's crazy. It's kind of like a race practice that we might do like in season, and so I think like a lot of those really prepare you for it. You know, I mean, the only thing that I think about is trying to get as much warm down as I can in like the few minutes in between, and then just get up and go. But they're a lot of fun. I mean, I think the best part of them is it takes you back to like summer swimming as a child.
Exactly.
Where, like, the only thing it's about is racing, you know, like maybe the time's not going to be great, but you just get up and have fun and race.
Absolutely. So we talked about your career at Emory, and now you're in Austin, Texas, one of my favorite cities in the world. Yeah. And you're now training there, and it's a great breaststroke group. You and Will Lacone, I'm sure, chase each other up and down the pool. Talk about your decision to move from Atlanta to Austin.
Yeah, so you know, I think I mean the first time that I went down there was in the summer of 2015. Because of D3 rules, your coach can't train you out of season. So I knew I had to find somewhere to train. The summer before that, I had swum with Dynamo in Atlanta, which was great. I mean, I have nothing but good things to say about Dynamo, but I was getting a little older and just wanted to be more with people my age instead of club swimmers, which I think is understandable. And so I started looking into places, and I mean, Eddie is just, I mean, he's the nicest guy in the world. And so he was totally welcoming and was like, yeah, come on down here. And as the summer went by, and you know, I went 59 for the first time, and suddenly the Olympics weren't as much of a dream, and maybe were a little more in reach. That's when I decided to take the year off. So yeah, that's how I got down there the first time, and then it was an easier decision to go back. You know, I have nothing but good things to say about Austin.
So you were in the Texas group, and then you went back to finish your degree. You're an athlete that not only takes their sport, swimming, seriously, but you take your academics very seriously. I heard you have you earned your degree in physics?
Yeah, physics and applied math, double major.
No,
wow.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
that's pretty tough.
Yeah,
really
I mean,
impressive.
People say that, but you know, to me, it's just school. So you know, if you gave me like an English class, I would be more daunted by that than I am from physics. So
well, it's very
so
impressive.
what do you, if looking down the line, applying your degree to a career, what do you think that would entail?
Yeah, so right now I'm in grad school at UT, which is another reason why it was great to go back. They have a program in computational engineering and math, and so that's what I'm doing right now. I mean, it's really good. It was one of the first to kind of, it's a relatively new field, and they were one of the first schools to really embrace it, and so that's been awesome. A little tough to balance with swimming, but I'm finding a way. And so yeah, down the line, my dream job is to work. I mean, I love cars, and I love racing, and so my dream job is to work for a Formula One team, doing some sort of engineering with that. But it's super competitive, and so I figure if I'm doing what I like in school, then I'll fall backwards into something.
So using your academic career, does physics help you at all in swimming? Do you learn anything from physics that you could apply to your swimming?
I don't know if I necessarily learn anything like direct, like in terms of like equations or something like that. But it's the same sort of thing. I mean, with physics, you know, you have to work hard. Like you have to put in the work, the background, and then that's gonna, like, you're gonna see the payoff later down the line. And then personally, for me, I think having something to be distracted from swimming is really good for me. You know, in the fall of what, 2015. It's like the beginning of the Olympic cycle. Obviously, I'd taken school off, and so I really wasn't doing anything but swimming, and that was just terrible for me mentally. I mean, it was like if I had a bad practice, instead of kind of getting over it and focusing on something else, I just dwelled on it. And when you're dwelling on a bad practice for 24 hours until your next opportunity, that's really bad for me. And so I think that was something that I learned that year, which was really important to me. And in the spring, I started to do some research with a professor from Emory while I was away, and that really helped my training, helped my swimming. And I think that's something that I just know about myself now, is that I need to have some balance in my life. And sometimes I get so focused on swimming that maybe I lose that balance.
Yeah, it's very understandable. But I'm sure graduate school right now keeps you plenty occupied.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of work, but I'm enjoying it.
Well, Andrew, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. I know you have to get back to the hotel and rest for the 50 knockouts, so we wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me too.
All right, thank you, Andrew. So that's going to do it for today's Deck Pass Live. Be sure to watch Andrew tonight on usaswimming.org. All the finals will be live streamed there. And then we're going to be back for Deck Pass Live, our final episode here from Santa Clara. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you tonight.